or afternoon based upon where you're located. This is Stuart Blumenthal, and I'm the Intacct Practice Director here at ETHOSystems. And today we're going to be going over a really cool module called Sage Estimating and how it works with Sage Intacct. Today we're going to have Tony Mary, who's our Foundation/Estimating Practice Director here at Ethos. Tony's got a lot of background in construction and estimating and can really tell you how to things you need to avoid and things you need to be careful about in estimating. So it's going to be an honor having him do the presentation today. Just a couple quick rules. So first of all, this presentation should be about 30 minutes. During this time, all the phone lines are muted. So if you do have any questions along the way, please use the questions feature. I will be monitoring that as Tony is going through the presentation. Last but not least, if you want to copy this presentation, let us know. Happy to send you the PowerPoint, and just put your email address in the questions feature, and I'll make sure I get that sent over to you. Two more quick things before I turn it over to Tony. So last year we had some great feedback from our team and from our clients, and we put together the following schedule for training for the first 5 months. So obviously today's is the estimating one. Next month, Carol is going to be doing the revenue recognition tips and tricks. Then we're going to be doing one in March. I think Olivia is doing the project contracts with AIA billing and showing how all that works. Some people are new to that, and we want to make sure everyone sees all the cool forms that come out of Sage. Then we'll be going in April, talking about some retainage tips and tricks, and then May we'll be going over change order tips and tricks. One thing to note on this schedule is that this does not count for the new releases of Sage that's coming out. We will be holding webinars when those versions are available for us to demonstrate. So please plan on 2 other sessions, one on the first release of Sage that's going to be sometime in February, and then the second release of Sage Intacct this year, which will be sometime in May. And that actually transitions into our last screen. When is the new versions coming out? Well, the next release will be happening on February 17th. That's a Friday night. So just keep in mind that that's going to happen probably around 8 o'clock Pacific time. So that's around 10 o'clock Central time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. If you're still doing accounting on a Friday night at that point, I'm sorry, it's time for you to go home, time for you to get out of the system and let the system get updated. Remember, everyone's updated to the same exact version. And in the February release, we're excited because they are adding some additional project features or construction features in there that are really going to help people navigate through the system. So we're really excited about that release. And then in the future releases, the May, August, and November releases is when they're adding a lot of things like compliance. And that's going to be a slow rollout of different features, but we're excited about the compliance features being added throughout the rest of the year. So we'll have some webinars and training for those. And anyone on the construction module will get the compliance module. It's going to be a little bit different module. They'll get that module for free. So we're really excited about that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Tony to talk about estimating. Tony, all yours.
All right. Thank you, Stuart, very much. So thanks for having me today, everybody. So real quick, this is probably the last slide I'm going to show. And I just want to talk to you about the software a little bit before we jump in. Just a lot of people are here to kind of see if this is the software for you, if it's the right choice for your company. So just wanted to talk about where Sage Estimating is excelling and where we're finding our clients reaching out for needs and where they're seeing the greatest benefits. So I just threw a couple things up here on the list for you real quick, and I'll somewhat speed through this, but I'm going to show you a lot of this within the software. So this is just kind of meant for you to say, oh, I do that. So if any of these relate to you, hopefully more than one, but if they do, then you'll find the next part in the demonstration very interesting. So the first thing about estimating, which people are enjoying and why people are reaching out for a program, is a lot of time they're using programs like Excel or other formats that are mostly user defined. Each individual user has control, has the ability to edit, break formulas, productions, etc. So ours is a centralized database of items and assemblies, just meaning you are selecting from a list that has been given to you. So you as the company would create that list, flow it down to your estimators and project managers. Another big one is for those that are self-performing work. Our estimating has very, very strong capabilities in the labor department as far as labor productivity. So how long does it take a person to do something? If you're a framing contractor, it might take you, an hour to install 20 lineal feet of 2x6 interior wall. Drywaller, maybe you're doing, 100 square feet an hour per man hour. The ability to build crews to say, if you threw another person on the job, how effective would that make it, less or more? And then the ability to have rate tables. So if you're in a union environment and you have multiple wage determinations or union collective bargaining agreements, prevailing wages, those wage determinations determined by the state, you would have your crews, which is just your people and your makeup of how you're doing your equipment and your production, and then you could have a rate table. In my experience in estimating, we had adverse drilling conditions in the winter. That was a rate table. So if we were doing work in the winter, we could use that rate table and it would slow our production down of employees. They work slower in the cold and the drilling consumables increased. Moving on, we do have a very good RS Means library of databases. So, for those that are not familiar with RS Means, it is an online survey and website. It is the norm, if you will, for North American construction cost indexing. That means they survey, RS Means surveys construction companies, collects their pricing, surveys material suppliers, excuse me, collects their pricing across 790 North American cities. Labor, materials, subcontract, and equipment. So what happens a lot is where we see this RS Means pricing is when you're working on a government project and they've spec'd, you must use RS Means unit pricing. If you're doing conceptual estimating, as you see below, and you want to double check your subcontractor's pricing, you can go in and bid the square footage price and see, generally speaking, industry average, are they high, are they low? The other reason that comes into play is if you work in multiple states and jurisdictions and your means and methods, how you estimate something and how you perform the work doesn't necessarily change, but your pricing does. I could easily flip between Chicago, Colorado Springs, Dallas, Texas, same work, different price, different region. So that kind of dovetails into what I was talking about with the conceptual estimating. Conceptual estimating in our world means very little information with a great amount of detail to start your estimate. I use a classic example. If a good client of yours called and said, hey, we've grown, I need to build a parking garage and I need to park 150 cars. How much is that going to cost? We have a program and we have the ability using RS Means pricing and our smart assemblies to generate at least a conceptual number, not bid ready. But the other things that we're running into where people are having needs, the last three, I'm going to talk to real fast and jump right into the software, is keeping like the repeatable work, things you do often or pieces of things you do often. If you are always doing concrete slabs or a concrete formwork, great, you can build templates and you can easily reproduce those and use them and merge them and on other estimates. The other way we're seeing is a lot of people are obviously receiving digital plans from owners and general contractors. Sometimes at the general contractor, we're seeing 3D takeoffs. In the MEP trades, doing your collision detecting and testing and all of that, we can integrate both your 2D plan takeoffs and a 3D BIM model into your estimate. And then the last one, I put integration with Sage Intacct Construction, but integration to their accounting software, whatever Sage product that is usually the #1 reason someone's looking for estimating, is they want better and tighter controls over their estimate to job budget process. So with that being said, I do want to remind everybody, please do put questions in the chat. Stuart's going to monitor those as we go. So here we are in Sage Estimating. I'm going to do a quick overview of this, and I'll just show you just a couple quick features of it, and then we'll go right into this Intacct integration and talk about that. So Sage Estimating as a program, as you see, I actually have it very blank, ready to go. I've taken a couple liberties. I've created an estimate called January 2023 webinar. That's us today. I have used a database of items and assemblies already set up, ready to go for me, which I'm going to start showing. But right off the bat, I wanted to explain a couple things. If you wanted to take an estimate that already exists, you have a budget, a template, You can duplicate or copy. One includes quantities and one doesn't. But I'm going to just show you right here. If I started from scratch on a piece of paper, unlike Excel, there's not even rows, right? We don't even have blank rows. So the few ways we can get through our adding this is we can use our quick buttons, or I'm going to open my item takeoff. Now, what my item takeoff is, and actually I'm going to show this in a better way. Show a quick item takeoff. What this is this is a list of all of the things I do that when I perform work that cost money. So if I expand my general conditions, you'll see I have all of this. I have project managers, I have watchmen and people. So I can say, oh, well, I need a project manager. I can just double click it and he drops onto my spreadsheet and he's ready to go. I say he, it's a she, it's a person. I could keep going through all of my things. I could go in, grab some concrete, grab some form footings, and I need my stakes and I need my forms. And you just see, it doesn't matter where I click, where I drag them, they're gonna sort in order based on my phasing structure. We won't get too much into that because really what I wanna just explain real fast is the way I just showed you is the hardest way to go about it. But if I go in here and if I say, oh, well, they're gonna be there for 15 weeks, you're gonna see this $40 a week. This is where, you know, you've got to double check math, and this is where I play with stuff. You don't want to do what I do. If I enter in 1,250 square feet, please note our price is $20 a square foot for labor. So there is our labor amount. There are details behind the scene that I can audit and really drive into if I wanted, see what my productivity is, etc. But you're also going to see I have my install price and my purchase price. So I have, you know, my entire price out the door. Now, that's one way to go about it. I'll just leave those right there so we can see them. The next way that most people are benefiting from our system is going in, and I'm just going to grab, since we had concrete there, I'm just going to grab a slab on grade, and we'll just grab an interior model. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now, what this is instead of me grabbing items one by one and building out this slab on grade, what I can do is just enter my length and my width of this. So let's call it a 10 by 10 and keep it easy. And you're going to see that now I have all my tips, how deep, etc. You see this information in here. And you're also going to see for concrete strength PSI, this could be size of 2x4, any other variable. I am free to enter a dimension from 3,000 to 7,000 PSI. Those are all good. I don't have to create an individual item for that. When I'm done with this slab, and we'll call it something different so we can see it. Webinar slab. We'll hit add the pass. And now what I've done is you'll see this pass up here, which I did for the webinar slab. It's added 105 square feet just because we're doing some overX. I could go in and do another takeoff if I wanted, of the same thing, same exact slab, different location, different dimensions. So now it's added in some more concrete, it's added in the thermal moisture barrier protection, everything is great there. Okay, last thing that I'm going to talk about real quick, and then we're going to jump into the integration. The last thing I want to talk about is we are a cost estimating and productivity estimating software. So how many of each, if it's material square feet, if it's per, all of that. So what you're seeing on your screen, if I draw your attention all the way to this column, which says last cost or total cost, this is a summary of your actual cost. No profit, no markup, no contingencies, no soft costs, no others. That is what is called markup and profit. These are otherwise known as add-ons. So if I go down and I draw your attention to what is called our add-ons page, this is just how it comes, nice and empty, nice and blank. Here's a summary of everything on my estimate. Now what I can start doing is saying, well, I need to put something in here. What do I want? Maybe I have dues, maybe I have insurance, maybe I have a bond. So you can see how I have a surety bond table. So depending on the price of my project, maybe I have sales tax. Again, I can do whatever I would like to do in here. I could add general conditions. You could do material sales tax, everything you would like. And now what you're going to see is that total cost column is populating our markup and profit column for our sell price. So just wanted to make it clear real quick, we can have unlimited views, unlimited sorts, unlimited ways for you to price this. And then before we talk about integration, the next logical step is you're bidding the job and you get the call. Hey, I really like your price, Stuart, of $30,294. I don't like it as much as I like 29,000. Now I hit edit totals. I'm typing in the number we're talking about. You'll see it does a quick summary, lets me know I'm only off 1,300 bucks. But Stuart may look and be like, okay, I can swallow that. But he may also look and see a square foot price. Now I'm using square foot. You might use cubic yards, you might use mile, anything you want to use as a rate or as a unit of measure. But Stuart may look at this and go, hey, at $1.32 a square foot, I don't make money. I need to be at $1.38 a square foot. So real quick and easy, you can say, hey, I can meet you somewhere in the middle. I can do it for this price. You notice I just increased it. So let's make sure that is lower. There we go. Let's give them somewhat of a deal. So I can adjust my pricing right at the end. I can see summaries of percentages included. No big deal. Okay. So now what we're doing is, in theory, we'd have a lot more line items in here in our estimate. We've gone through, we've done all of our pricing. We've captured our subcontractor pricing in here. We've captured our material pricing, from vendors or just known material costs. RS means is what is pricing this for me in most cases, except for where I say it's $40 a week, except for that. So now the opportunity comes that you've been awarded the project and you need to get that in your accounting system. So just real quick, I'm going to open Sage Intacct for you, and just to show real quick, I am just going to open this right on the fly for you, because I'm going to show you, I did create a project just to make sure we didn't run into any weird issues, but I'm going to show you the project in Intacct and show you again that the resources and the estimates and the cost codes are gone. So real fast, let's go into our general construction entity. Let's pull up our jobs. And you'll see I created a job called January webinar. Now I'll just hit edit. And just to show you, I have no cost codes, no estimates, no anything on this job. Okay, let's go back into estimating and talk about what this looks like now. So you'll see on the advanced tab, once I'm done, there's a couple things that would happen. First is you would determine as an organization, can estimators create new jobs from estimating, or does accounting need to issue them? B is the option that almost everybody goes with. So the step really would be the estimating department reaches out to accounting, gathers a job number, says, hey, I got a job, I'm ready to push a budget over. Very little information is needed. The estimator would come into their job info tab. This is usually filled out during the course of doing a bid. And down here in this section, there's a job cost information. You'll see I've already connected my job here, so it's ready to go. I can do the setup of mapping my cost types in there as well. So all of that, that's all that needs to be done. You do your work, you get your job number, you hit a button. And I'm going to walk through the options that are available for you today. And the reason I say today is Sage is always developing and enhancing. So here's a summary of what we're going to do. We're going to enter the project, info, estimate information, rounding, and etc. So here we go. It's already linked to my project in Intacct. If I wanted to look up, here's my projects in Intacct. So you see how quick that pulled that up. I can put my beginning and end date. It's actually requiring these. So let's say we'll begin February 1st and we'll finish by March 1st. It's a quickie. And our location. Now you'll see the location here is populating from Intacct. So under Ethos General Construction, we also have the option to populate to these if we want. I'm just going to put it to General Construction. We can choose departments if we would like. I don't know if there's any set up in here, which there isn't, but that would be linked as well. And this is already linked to the customer in Intacct. That would also show you that option. So coming through the estimate ID, we can call this from estimating if we want. Well, actually, let's just use the date. That works. And we'll call it from estimating. And that way we can just see as we go. Now you'll see, when we're sending this into Intacct, we have a bunch of options because of Intacct's power around storing and giving you variables on estimates. What do I want to send this in at? Is it a current estimate? Have we changed things? Is it forecasting? Is it historical forecast? Is it my original estimate in this case? So we'll say next, round accumulated quantities. I can talk about that if you want. It just basically means once you have, if I had 30 lines of moisture barrier, it would round them all together and then create one line and get rid of the decimals. Add-ons. If you want to send your markup and profit to a cost code, you have payment performance bonds, you want those to a cost code, you want to allocate those to a cost code, you hit that button. The next option is, do you want a file to see? I'm going to create a file to see. You can say none, and then you hit finish. Okay, so this file, I'm going to say, yep, January 23rd. We'll save it to the desktop. Up in the upper left-hand corner, we're verifying, we're loading the setup data. It encountered an error. Let's see what it is. I bet I have a cost code that does not exist. Replace task. The new correct task is, let's just go 010140. I'm making this up. Oh, let's go. Well, I guess I can select a task. Sorry about that. Let's just call it whatever. That works for me. I'm just grabbing a cost code. Oh, I'm sorry. I cannot do that. I need to scroll. I'm sorry about that. Project. Let's just put it to this one. Okay. Wow. There's really no codes on this one. Sorry. It's in first time it's setting up standard cost codes on the project. One of the downsides of importing it for the first time is it doesn't see the cost codes on the project yet. So there's a quick summary of what just happened. We'll go take a look at Intacct real quick, but we entered in 6 entries, 6 line items in there. The reason it's 6 line items is you'll see we only have 1, 2, 3, but we have labor, material, equipment, and other. This should say other, not fasteners. So all of those. So now what we'll do is that is done. Let's go in here, hit refresh. There's the cost codes that came over on the project. The planning begin. Remember I said February to March. Our estimates that are here, there's my estimate ID. My description is from estimating. So my entire budget has been posted in there. If I wanted to go in and see, more underneath these and go look at the job and the categories or the cost types, I could go and do that as well. But basically, that was what I wanted to show today, just as a high-level overview of the capabilities of what Sage Estimating is doing, who it's doing it for successfully, and then what does that look like moving into Intacct as your ERP solution. With that, Stuart, trying to keep the recording short, was there any questions in the chat box that I could help with?
Yeah, the only question that came in is this part of Sage Intacct?
It is not. It is an optional but additional module. So it is not part of it. It's an external program that is available from us as your business partner. We can do a presentation, but it is not included in the Intacct construction subscription.
Perfect. Hope that answered that question. I'm looking to see if there's any other ones that came in that I did not answer. No, I think we answered them all. So appreciate everyone. Tony, first of all, thank you for putting this together. Always fun to do demos on the fly, and I really appreciate you putting it together and did a great job. Appreciate all the clients that joined us today and prospects, and if there's any questions you have afterwards, feel free to reach out to myself, to Tony. Our email addresses were on the first screen, and appreciate everyone, and have a great rest of the day. Take care.